Hmm. All right, here we are. Welcome, welcome to the transitioning table. Once again, it's good to have each and every one of you. I'm eternally grateful for you joining me at this time or as you watch the rebroadcasting. This video is for educational purposes only, where we are learning, unlearning, and relearning a whole lot of things that they've taught us, and I am just eternally grateful to be able to come and share with you some of the things that um, I'm learning and unlearning and relearning. Yes. So welcome once again to the transitioning table. So today, as my topic, you will see, I'm talking about global migration. Yes, global migration. And global migration, as some of us may see it or may think of it as just something that is recent, and it is not something that is recent. It's global migration, the very first global migration, whether we could acknowledge it or not, whether we stand true with it or not, the very first global migration happened from the continent. It happened from the continent. It happened from this massive land they renamed Africa. This is the very first place global migration took place from here. And so I listened to all of the debates, and I listened to all of the professors, and I listened to all of the metaphysics, and not all of them. Let me not say I listen to all of them, but I hear some of them, not all. And I hear some of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and all of the different things that they're saying. But one of the things that we must agree on, there must be a place of origin. There must be a place of origin. There must be a place where it all began, you know? It all began somewhere. Habari and Zuri Sana. There must be a place where it all began. And so the continent, what they rename Africa, they had other names for this continent, Ethiopia and all the other names. I don't want to mess up the other names that they had, but indigenous names and stuff like that. But the place of origin is the continent of Africa, because history will show, creation will show that this was the place where where mankind, we as a people, was created. This is where we evolved from, developed from, was birthed, was given our mandates: be fruitful, multiply, subdue, replenish, have dominion. This is where we were given that charge from here. And so from that charge, our people chattered and went out to territories. That's where you got South America and North America. You got the Caribbean. You got the Europe and all of these, India and the Asia and all these other places, Russia and the what you call the Philippines and all these different places. The place of origin is Africa. So the indigenous people that they say are the indigenous people that of the land were us. Their origin, when you go back and you track back their place of origin, you will track their DNA, you will track their bloodline back to Africa. So the very first global migration, the very first movement on this earth was us occupying the earth. So that's why you could go to Brazil and you could go to America and you could go to Mexico and you could find pyramids. Why do you find those things? They are marking of us, of where we came from. We carry in us markings of where we came from. And so that's what we did. We built replicas of where we came from to know that we are all united. Watch this. Oh, glory. Whew. The pyramids, and this is just a download I get just now. I mean, I could be right, I could be wrong. The pyramids, as we may not know or we may know, are also gateways. Could it be could it be that was the way our people traveled before they created the boats and the planes and all this different stuff? They travel via these pyramids, energy grids. Anyway, that's just something I drop inside there. Anyhow, that's just something that's just drop inside my spirit. Anyway, but we were the first to migrate, to start this global migration. We were the first to occupy the land, to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, to replenish. That's why everywhere we go, there's a little bit of us in everything that is going on. Everywhere you go, you'll find something that is indigenous to the continent. Like, wow, you go to Barbados and they do something with the banana leaves and they wrap it, and you go to Ghana, they do the same thing. You go to Nigeria, they do the same thing. You come here to Kenya, they do the same thing. It's like we carry with us the markings of who we are and where we came from. So yes, you have pyramids in America. Yes, you have pyramids inside Mexico. Yes, you have pyramids in Brazil. Sudan have the most pyramids in the world. On the continent, not even just talking about Giza pyramid that they have there that they made everybody to know and stuff like that. And so this is why we have to be careful of who telling our narrative, who telling our stories, because a lot of times people are telling our stories from their perspective there again, and then you cannot say that that's not the way they receive it and stuff like that. But we have to understand and open up our mind to know that there is more to the story than that little isolated incident, that little isolated information. So for me, as I'm speaking on the transitioning table, one of the things you must understand, understand is that the very first migration, very first global takeover, the very first occupying of every land, mass of land, was us. We were the one that traveled. We were the ones that went out and seek new land and occupy. They say we were scattered. That's what they tell us. We were scattered. But we were the indigenous people that migrated to China, the first set of Chinese, the first set of Japanese, the first set of Australians, the first set of Americans, the first set of Caribbeans, they call them the Incas and the Tinkas and the Caribs and what they call them, and the Arawaks, and all these different names they call them. So you could tag all kind of names, just like how they call us Africans, or you call them African American, or you understand me, they call you Japanese or whatever have you, they call you Chinese and British and all these different things. But the fact of the matter is, life began on Africa and we expanded. We went out to the four corners of the earth. We went out throughout the earth. We occupied, we replenished, we subdued, we took dominion. So that's why they can have the book, we were there before Christopher Columbus. We know that. You come to the Bahamas, they tell you the story of how many Arawaks and thing they killed. Christopher, they killed when they came there. When you think about the Lutheran adventurers and how many, they met us there, the Lutheran adventurers, they were, you see? So that narrative of we were always in America. We are of the Americas and all this different stuff. I understand that your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, my grandmother, which is so close. This is how close it is to me. My grandmother, which is my father's mother, her mother was indigenous, what we call indigenous to the island. They were them people that occupied on the shorelines of Grand Bahama and Abaco. They wouldn't consider the indigenous people. But in terms of still being indigenous, the origin of where they came from was the continent. Was the continent. This is the first place of contact in this earth realm. This is a place where we spread out from, we went out from. And so I just felt like a lot of times we get caught up in, I know African and I know this and but you can't lie where your place of origin is. Yes, we are mixed now. And that's the second thing I want to touch on. The second migration wasn't just a migration, was integration. The second migration, the first global migration was us going out into the four corners of the earth and occupying all the land. We occupied every land there is. It was us. Melanated people then. Let me put it like that. If you don't want to call them Africans, melanated people that were born on this continent here, who were being fruitful, who was multiplying, who was subduing, who was replenishing, then we went out. Okay? And so then the second aspect of the global migration it was integration. It wasn't just so much people migrating. People started to integrate. We talk about integrate. Now you have other people coming forward. I want to make sure I don't, offend anybody, but let us create them in our image and our likeness. Other people that were created, you understand? We became gods over, lords over. And so we start integrating. Another thing that maybe we talk about and people are scared to talk about is the fact that the great experiment. A lot of people watching this movie on Netflix with the Queen, Charlotte, now understanding they try to make her as white as they possibly could, but she was of a noble, melanated family. But it was a great experiment. Why? Because that set of people that she married were dying out as they are now. Think about what's happening. On this place calling Japan, these places calling for our melanated men to come and impregnate their women and stuff like that. That's integration. They need our melanin. They need our DNA for them to continue to exist. So what they was trying to do, they was trying to white us out. But in whiting us out, they was wiping themselves out. Let me say that again. In terms of whiting us out, they was wiping themselves out. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. They was whiting us out, but they was wiping themselves out. So now in whiting themselves out, they need us once again to come and help replenish, multiply, reproduce. That's what they need. So that's the second aspect of migration, was integration, how they do. So now look at how some of these countries that were so rigid on their visa policies and migration policies and stuff like that, how they're softening it for our people to come in and quote unquote work. But they know if our people come into work, they can mix and mingle and have some children there and stuff like that. The same thing they did coming here when they came to the continent. When you go around, especially the round Mount Kenya region, you will see those British soldiers and all them thing having children. Some of the Chinese have children with our people. That's integration. How do I integrate with these people? How do I now become a part of it, that I may have a stakehold in what they have? These are the things that they have tried time and time again and continue to try, but to no avail. they're not able to repeat what they did at the Berlin Conference. They're unable to recolonize us to the magnitude they had us colonized. Yes, there's some colonization happening and going on and stuff like that. What do they call it? Think I'm colonized anyway. So they're trying to regain control, which is impossible because we are woke. And the younger generation are even more awoke than the older generation that we think they are awoke. So we have the global, the first migration is the global one, whereas we went everywhere, we occupied. The second one is integration, whereas they mix and mingle with us. And let me tell you, now slavery was an interruption in the migration and in our lives. Slavery didn't happen overnight. The Arabs, this is for educational purpose only. YouTube, please. Okay. The Arabs were in here, was coming in and kidnapping and taking our people into slavery. So they grab a hold of what the Arabs was doing. That's what people don't want to talk. People are afraid to offend Arabs because it's the Arabs that started this massive exodus of, a slave thing of our people. Yes, we were slave owners ourselves too. Yes, we sell some of our people too. Yeah. But when you look at the how did the Portuguese grab a hold of it? Through the Arabs. And that's what people don't want to talk about. That's a slave trade that nobody wants to talk about. Even to today, 2024, nobody wants to talk about the Arab slave trade because you know why? It's still happening today. 2024, the Arabs are still enslaving our people. They're still killing our people today. Yeah. So that's a slave trade that you hardly hear anyone talk about. They only talk about the Portuguese and how the Portuguese bring the people in Fort whatever that's and stuff like that. The first ship that came from Angola to the Virgin Islands to America and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. Even from Kenya, I learned the Portuguese came, the Arabs came in here. The Portuguese came around, and Arabs also sent some people from on the East Africa. Don't think it was only West Africa. They take people from East Africa, sell them to the Portuguese, and they also made their way around. I was looking at some stuff. So slavery was an interruption in our migration and us moving around freely, like how we was moving around and what we were doing, trade in our trade. So slavery came and interrupt our trade, our wealth building. Slavery was an interruption to our migration and our integration and all that stuff. So that's what slavery was. Slavery was an interruption. They was like, we can't let these people. When you think about Musa Mansam and how he traveled and he crushed economies with the gold, they saw that. They saw it. So they want to know how these people are so wealthy that they could crush economies. They go now. When we think about it, they burned the Library of Alexander and stuff like that. But what did they keep? They burned the library down, but did they burn everything down in the library? Or they took what they needed first and then burned it down? So slavery was an interruption to the migration. Slavery didn't stop the migration. It was an interruption to it, but it didn't stop it. People are still migrating to different places and stuff like that. And so this is what we have to understand and understand and overstand, learn, relearn, and unlearn the narratives that they told us and add to it. I'm not saying that some of the narratives weren't wrong. They put some truth inside some of the narratives that they teach us, but we have to know that there's more to us than just slavery. They interrupted our way of life, our way of movement, our freedom. That's what slavery did. Slavery interrupted our freedom. And let me tell you something. They say they came and put borders in place, right? The borders as we know it, they come and put in place. But what I'm learning is this. You have to understand, on the continent of Africa, there may not have been borders as we know it with immigration and stuff like that. But there were territories. So if you're going into a new territory, a new kingdom, you have to let them know who you are coming through and stuff like that. So we didn't have borders in terms of the kind of borders that they put in place now, but we had territories, kingdoms that work together. But you coming from the Roberts kingdom and you go into the Foster kingdom, you got to let the Foster kingdom know, hey, I'm coming and I just want to pass through your territory to get to the Royal kingdom. So that was the movement and the respect for territories and for kingdoms. So we saying we want Africa without borders, yes, but we still had that respect for territories. Yeah. So let us tell the whole truth, not the half truths, the hypes. And that's why the unity can't come, because people feel like, oh, when you move these borders, you're moving our rights and our sovereignty and our this and our stuff. But realizing, I think that what we really need to lobby for is not so much as moving the borders, but moving this visa, just having to have a visa thing. You understand? We have to pay for this visa to move through and stuff like that. But being able to freely like say, okay, I'm coming, Foster, I'm coming at your kingdom. You have your persons there, your generals, your people who man your border and stuff like that, man your territory, and say, listen, we're not here to cause harm. We come to trade, or we just want to pass through your territory to get to the next territory and stuff like that. That's what they had here. It's all about territories and respect for each kingdom that is in operation here. So slavery was an interruption that caused a drastic change in the landscape and the trajectory of the continent and the globe at large. Because when you think about even in the Americas and stuff like that, with the indigenous people there, they were moving around freely without these they had territories. They did not have what you call these things, states. They had territories. So we understood treaties, we understood agreements in terms of moving in territories and stuff like that, and trade and stuff like that. So when those who came in to colonize us, those who came in with the slavery, saw the wealth and saw the organization that we have, they learned from us. They learned the barter system from us. We have spices. Y'all have whatever they had, alcohol. We teach them how to bathe their skin. We teach them how to make soap and stuff from trees and all these different things, instead of just bathing once a year. So the next part of global migration was the interruption by slavery. So we were still moving around, we still migrating back and forth. Because when you think about the Bantu migration, and let me use nature. I can use nature for an example. Every year, like clockwork, every year, you go to the Masai Mara. There's the great migration that is happening there all the time. Every year, like clockwork, those wildebeest, those zebras, and all these different things cross that river, even though they know they may die, every year to come have their babies in Kenya, and then they go back. Then there's some whales that come here and migrate here in the Indian Ocean, have their babies, and go back. Every year, like clockwork, they still migrate. And that's nature. Even when you hear about some of these tribes story, they migrated along the what you call this thing river now, the Nile River. They took the Nile River as directions to migrate throughout the sub-Sahara Africa. So slavery, as they teach us, was an interruption to our migration, our way of living, our customs, our culture, our way of doing things, our lives. Now, talking about this and this migrate, and I want to use this word right here: ignorance. Ignorance, as what was dressed down inside my spirit, I think I had shared it with Mama Cheryl, and is ignoring truth or facts. The truth is in front of you, the facts is in front of you, and you're ignoring it. That's ignorance, you know? And I think I understand why they say, let the ignorant be ignorant still. Because why? If they can keep on ignoring the facts, leave them alone, let them be, let them fall at their own demise, let them stay. I have learned, and I'm learning, to not take on the energy, the psychosis of anyone anymore. If you tell people the truth, you tell them the facts about who the Messiah is, or who this JC is, or who we are as a people, or all these other things, and they still ignore it, they still want to go after their own ways, leave them, let them be. You continue, and you do you. And I just put that up today on my Facebook. This is a season of change, and that change is about you doing you. That ain't the season. This ain't the season no more of compelling people to change and to learn and to unlearn and to relearn and stuff. Let the ignorant be ignorant still. Ignorance is ignoring facts. You present them with facts, you present them with truth, and they refuse to accept it. Leave them, let them be. Capisa? Capisa. Yes. And so that's what I wanted it to just plug inside there. This fourth migration is the migration that is happening now. And that's the returning. And I shared this migration, global migration, on a friend of mine, Dr. Patricia James. I shared this with her people on Sunday on her platform on Facebook. And this migration that is happening now, the return that is happening now, is the children returning back to the parents or the parents. So as I began this, I said the very first global migration was us. Going to the four corners of the earth, replenishing, subduing, having dominion. That's us. The migration that is happening now is us once again returning to the place of origin. There is a cry in the spirit. This is not a natural cry. This is a mother isn't crying out with her voice loudly, but a mother is crying within her spirit, is groaning. What they say, the earth is groaning for the manifestation of the sons. The mother is groaning for her children to now come home. Come back to your place of origin. Come back to the place of uniting. Come back to a place of working together as one. Come back to the place of becoming one. Iron sharpening iron, rebuilding each other. To come back to the place of utopia. Come back to the place of Goshen, the land that flowed with milk and honey, that has enough space to fit all 7 billion people that is on this earth, can fit on this one continent called Africa. Or 7 billion, or however much a billion people on this planet, on this earth, all can fit on this one plane called Africa. That's how big this place is. All can fit here. No, and with comfort. I'm not talking about you fit here and you uncomfortable and stuff like that, but all can fit. There's room for all. Though millions may come, there's still room for one. That's a serious song, the prophetic. Though millions may live here, 54 million living in Kenya, and there's still space. There's still space. And that's just Kenya alone. I want to tell you about Tanzania. We'll have less people than Kenya and bigger than Kenya. You see? I want to talk about DRC, which is bigger than all. Has space. Mozambique, Botswana, South Africa still have space. Uganda got space. So this fourth migration that is transpiring, a lot of people don't. Some people say, I just felt led to leave the West and come to Africa. I don't know why. It's because the Spirit, the Mother is calling. Come and reunite. Come home. Yes, all. Come home. Ye who are weary. Come. You're tired of the Western world. Come home. Oh, they picture this bad picture, especially now in the news. We see all kinds of things going on. Kenya this and Kenya that, and Kenya president this and Kenya president that, Kenya da 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 da. Listen, there could be wars and rumors. How rumors are spread. Rumors are spreading. But when the people unite, I don't care how much the powers that be try to stop, try to block. I was telling a sister this morning because she messaged me some things that they are saying here in Kenya. I said, my dear, I know what the divine showed me about Kenya. I know what he said. So everything that they saying that is happening and is about to happen and stuff like that, that ain't a part of what I saw. And I'm not delusional. They say, oh, you've been ignorant to the fact. No. I'm holding on to the vision that I was given. I am an atmosphere changer. And everywhere I go, the atmosphere must change, must be conducive for my presence. I know what the Most High showed me about East Africa. And guess what? Remember, I told you all on one of my lives in 2021 or 2022 that East Africa was going to, 2021, I started telling you in 2021, East Africa was going to be a superpower. What happened in 2022? East Africa, when DRC joined the East African community. You don't think it's going to stop? You think they can stop trying to dismantle that? They can do everything in their powers to try to dismantle that, even if they got to use one man to try to use that one man or woman to try to dismantle it. They will try. But we, the people, will not have it. One can chase 1,000. Two, how many? Three, how many? So we collectively using our powers instead of spreading false narrative or spreading their narrative, because our power is in our mouth. If we decree a thing, it shall be established. So every time we regurgitate their negative things, that's what get power. But if we start speaking the things that the Most High told us, how he's replenishing, he's restoring this land, how this land is the land of milk and honey, how he's bringing his people home. It will shut them down. They will not exist. How you think? Let me tell you something. You don't know how that same pandemic stopped? Because people like us who took a stand, who said, no, we will not become, we will not. That's how that thing stopped. There was more that was shutting it down, was speaking against it, than those who was, no, I got to have my job. No. Life and death is in the power of our tongue. So what we speak is what manifests, is what lives, what takes control, what has dominion, what has power. We give it power by our voice, by our spirit, because that's the kind of power that we have. Be fruitful, multiply, subdue, have dominion. That's us. And so I believe, family, that no matter how much they try to reestablish that Berlin Conference, it will not work. Let me sing one of their word they song. No weapon formed against Africa will prosper. It won't work. No subduing that is formed against Africa. It will not work. No subduing that is formed against Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Zambia, Namibia, Uganda. It won't work. It won't work. Burkina Faso, Chad. No, it won't work. It may seem like they may disable us for a moment, but guess what? We don't die. We multiply. We regenerate. So the migration that is happening now is the return of the sons and daughters. And let me tell you all something. Yes, the West, especially America, did its Memorandum 46. Yes, it made its plans to separate those on the continent from those that are in the Americas, those that are in the Caribbean. Yes, they sent all these videos out. Oh, don't go to Africa. It's dangerous there. You got Ebola. You got AIDS. You got malaria. Let me tell you something. What people don't know, and I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. But I could say this. If you take the neem, make some tea, malaria would disappear. But why would they ban you from using the very thing that heals you? The neem. If more of our African brothers and sisters on the continent, I am not a medical doctor, YouTube, but I just know it for me. I will share it with somebody else. Neem tea? Hey, they call it the miracle tree. Moringa? Ha. That's all I said. Them same two things right there. Moringa and neem. Man, they give it the rope-a-dope. They're the 1-2 punch. I'm telling you. You sprinkle that moringa on your food and eat that, every mineral you need, every restoration in your body you need. You make that neem tea? All right. The moringa will start making you look young again. Instead of being, this age, you'll be looking like 25. I just need to work on this. Yeah. That's it. So the migration that is happening, the fourth migration is us returning to the continent, returning home to the mother. Returning home. They say turning the children back to the father is returning home to mother. Mother is the nation. Where we go back? Oh, we going back to my mommy house. Not my father's house. I trust you me. Some things I learned differently now. There's no way any of us, I don't care who you are, great or small, rich or poor, no one can come into this earth unless they come through the womb of a woman. No one. And let me tell you how significant that is. And tell y'all to really understand the power of a woman and the womb. The Messiah who some of y'all still hold on to, the Messiah, that one when they call Jesus. He did not use the sperm of a man, but he had the only legal entrance into this earth for him to come in. The legal way to enter this world was through the womb of a woman. That sets a precedent to let you understand, and understand the power and the throne of authority the woman sits on. He didn't pop up and just enter. He didn't put a man to sleep and come out of the rib of a man. He came to the womb of a woman, a portal of a woman. Let that sit in. He that is ignorant, then be ignorant still, ignoring truth and facts. So yes, family, it's time for our brothers and sisters to return. That's the migration that is happening now. That's the migration I'm so excited about because it cannot be stopped no matter how hard they try. They shut down the whole world, shut the world down, and it still stops some of us. Some of us still come home in the midst of a pandemic. In the midst of it. In the height of 2020 of the pandemic. On a plane and migrated to the beautiful continent of Africa, in the beautiful country of Kenya. Making preparations and plans to receive my brothers and sisters as they come home, one by one, kidogo, kidogo, poli, poli. Yeah. So, it's on, family. The global migration continues. But now the thing it is it isn't a global migration as there was in the beginning with us going out from the continent, but it is now a global migration of us coming home, returning to our mother, returning to our nativity, place of origin. And let me tell you, Kenya may not be the place for you, but there is a place for you. They put it in the script, you know. In the script, they say, in my father's house is many mansions. So let me turn it around. In my mother's land, on the mother's land, there's plenty space. You don't have to like Kenya. You don't have to like Tanzania. You might like Zambia. You may like Mozambique. You may like Malawi. You may like Angola. You might like Johannesburg. You know? It's up to you where your spirit feel at home. So you may come to Kenya and your spirit will be restless. You can't find peace. But when you go down to Mozambique, you find yourself, oh my gosh, I've never felt such peace like this in all my days. You might decide to go to Zambia. And when you get down to Zambia, I just can't deal with these people. And then when you go to Botswana, you be like, this is paradise. You see what I'm saying? So don't get caught up in, I come to Kenya and I like Kenya, so I go in back. No. Come with an open mind, open heart, open spirit, that I can find my niche. I can find where it is. I can find my place of peace. And that's it. That's it. All the migration is all about coming and finding your place of niche, your place of peace in sub-Saharan Africa, below the equator. Yeah. I know there's some photos, some videos out there, because my sister shared one video with somebody saying, they can't do Africa and stuff like that. And that's fine. Some people can't do it. Okay. You might be from the family, you may not be able to do it. That's fine. I ain't mad at you, But for those of us who could do it, don't take somebody else's experience as your experience. I know somebody else who complain about Kenya, complain about Kenya, and Kenyans complain. Now the land spew them out. They can't come back. Be careful what you complain about. You know, you keep putting your mouth on it, you keep on complaining, now you can't come back. All the money you invested, you can't come back. Tanzania, complain. Now you went back, you say you're coming back, but you can't come back. The land spew you out. People wondering, how come she's still there? You know the thing. Listen, sometimes I hear some of the things I hear about myself. I be like, what? Me? That's me for real? Yeah. Okay. Wow. But I'm not here on my own fruition. Yes, some people help me here. And let me tell you something. If I ever say that I am ungrateful for those who helped me and who continue to help me, may the Most High, deal with me. I, Shameen Nicole Roberts. Y'all got all my government name. I am eternally grateful for all the persons that the Most High touch in their hearts and in their spirits to be a blessing to me, that I could continue to be here to do the work that I'm doing, that I can help children, I can help families, I can even help myself. I'm grateful. There's not an ungrateful bone in my body. I am so grateful to all. If I start calling the names, it'd be too much to even call. People in front of the scene and behind the scene who have tremendously impacted my life with financial help, words of encouragement, emails of keep up what you're doing. Thank you for putting out that video that you put out that was so timely. All these different things. People have been encouraging me here. And I'm grateful. I could not do it without you. But guess what? I'm also grateful for the Most High, because it's the divine creator that touched the hearts. It's the source that touched the heart, that stirred up inside of you to do what you do. So I'm here to encourage those who want to come home. Those who want to come home. I'm not pleading and begging, come home, y'all need to come. I'm not using a scare tactic. Come to the continent. No. This global migration that's happening is personal now. It is not collective. I'm sorry. We want a collective thing. It's not collective anymore. It's personal. Check your own heart. We say, as for me and my household, check your household. Not your sister house, not your brother house, your mommy house, your daddy house, your cousin house, your auntie, your uncle house, your pastor house. Check your household. Check you. And if this is what the Most High, the divine creator, is resting in your spirit to do, do it. Let me tell you something. I tell you with no doubt, a way would be made. Yes, we have people, unscrupulous people here, just as we have unscrupulous people everywhere else. If something costs $1, they will try and charge you $2 or $5 if they can get it out of you. Yes, but you got to be wise. Using wisdom, not being eager to hurry up and purchase and buy because you hear something sound cheap. But come in with a mindset to be the change. This next migration, I can say it again, it's personal. If you feel that pricking, that longing to come, talk to the Most High, talk to the divine creator, make a way for me to get there. This is all I have. Yes, Shameen, I may have been able to come with $1,000 US and still be here. But you may not be able to. You may be waiting on a 10,000 or a 5,000. And watch how the Most High multiply it and allow you to be here. You even gonna know how, like, you'll be crying all, you'll be like me, you'll be crying all the time, like, how am I still here? How am I still surviving? How am I? Most I thank you. Thank you for keeping me. Thank you for sustaining me. Thank you. That's I had an attitude of gratitude. Thank you for making ways out of no way. Thank you for opening doors that no man can shut. Thank you. For bringing me into a land that I did not even know the language. But you set people around me to help me and lead and guide me and direct me along the way. Thank you. That now I could be a pace setter for somebody else to come to show them and to lead them and to guide them and help them and to welcome them home. I am grateful. This migration is glorious. It's glorious. It is glorious. I think next week I'm gonna invite Mama Nichelle to come on and speak about her transition. So she could just share with you her transition here from America to Tanzania, from Tanzania now to Kenya. This migration is personal. It is no longer, it was collective first, but now it's personal. It's personal. It's only for those who want it. If you're waiting for, because think about all the groups that was formed to move in groups. And a lot of the groups are now broken up and stuff like that. A lot of people got robbed out of so much money and stuff like that. They gave their monies for business. They gave their monies for land. They gave their monies for these various things and got nothing but heartache and disappointment and discouraged. And that's why I'm saying to you now, this migration is personal. So no one could rob you this time. No one can take your hard-earned savings and splurge and live a good life off of you, leaving you behind with heartbreak and disappointment. Not this time. Not this time. Nobody could use rituals and saying that they gotta pray for the land for you to receive you and stuff like that. Trickery, skullduggery. You can't fall for intellectualism anymore. This is personal. Take it from me. November, 4 years. I could tell you some stories, what happened to some people being robbed. Not $100 and $200, thousands of dollars. But guess what? They didn't give up. They stick in there because they knew that this was where they needed to be. This is where the Most High was calling them home. So they stayed. They didn't pack up and say, I can't stay here. These people done robbed me and stuff like that. They stayed. And not out of embarrassment, but guess what? Because they know this is home. So some people get robbed. And some people get robbed and they left. And some people get robbed and they stayed. But that's what I'm saying to you. This migration, this one now that is happening now. I'm talking about a little wave between 2021 and 2023 was collective groups planning on coming. This one, 24 and beyond, is personal. This migration now is personal. No matter how many people try to attach themselves to you, to come with you, it's personal. And you want to see how quickly you can move? Disassociate yourself and start making your individual plans. And you'll see how quickly things start happening and moving for you. Quickly things will start moving and happening. Do it individually. Get out of that church mentality. We got to do it together. We are family. Yes, we're family. But now you have to do this personally. They tell us in the scripture, every man got to give an account for themselves. Yeah, this is self-accountability. Yeah. So I love you, family. Please, if you have any questions, always feel free to hit me up in my email, Lady Shemaine Roberts at gmail.com. I think it's somewhere in the description. If it's not in the description, it's on my page any which way, my email address. So you could always hit me up inside my email. Yeah. And then if we want to continue a conversation, I'll after you hit me up on the email, then I probably give you my WhatsApp or my Telegram number so we can continue to communicate via WhatsApp or Telegram. But hit me up via my email if you have any questions at all. I'll be more than happy to answer as best as I know how with a little bit of information I have. I would be glad to assist you as best as possible. But know this once again, I love you, and there's nothing you could do about it. Let's live life on purpose, by purpose, for purpose, with a purpose. Doing this one thing. Coming home. Being open to learn, unlearn, and to relearn. Yeah. So this migration, this return, it's personal, no longer collective. Much love, family.